Hello friends, welcome to the channel. If today is your first visit with us, I want to extend you a very warm welcome. If you've been here before but you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe. If today is your birthday, we want to extend you a very warm birthday. Today we're going to have a tips and tricks video, and we're going to talk about changing your blade in your table saw. One of the main reasons why table saws fail, particularly their motors burn, are because of dull blades. A blade, even though it is expensive, it is much cheaper than a table saw. So changing your blades regularly is a very important thing. And don't ask me how I know that. But stick around and let's see the tips that we can show you about making a very safe and easy table saw blade change. Alright friends, and here we are at our table saw, and we are going to talk about some basic things. First, make sure that your saw is unplugged. Never work near the blade with your saw plugged in. All saws will come with a pair of wrenches and spinners, and that varies from saw to saw, but make sure you have those ready to do your process here. The second part, remove your plate. And to make your life easier, as you can see, while I can reach the nuts here, this is very tight. So the next step is actually to raise your blade to the highest possible height. And you're going to see that the arbor, which is the part that the nut attaches, this is the arbor, is going to clear any obstruction and will allow us to work easier. Dramatic music here? No, nothing in. It's very exciting to watch the blade go up. So you have two different spanners. One is a closed one, and it is the one that goes here on the nut on the the spanner. And the other is an open one, and I don't know if you can even get in here, but there is another one that is usually very thin, and you simply put it there. Now, one of the easiest ways to remember this is not a righty tighty, lefty loosey, it is the opposite.
It actually is. If you're going from this side, lefty loose is that way, righty tight is this way. So it's just depending on how you're looking at it.
Well, it is in relationship to the blade movement.
Yes.
The blade moves this way, so the untight that way. Make sense?
No.
Nope, it doesn't make sense.
No, because you're tightening it.
All right. It isn't though. All right.
Okay.
So you can put your one of your spanners there and use the top of the table saw as a stop, and then pushing the other one you can loosen the nut. Now if you have not changed your blade for a few years, you might need some effort to do this, right? Now after the nut, there is a pressure plate that makes sure that your blade is very well seated, and this has a position. The arbor has a flat area in either side, right? Can you see that?
Yep.
So this can only go one way. Now you're ready to move your blade out and replace it. In this case, I'm not replacing this blade yet. I will soon. But what happens if you happen to lose this? Now I will show you another way that you can use to make that blade loose if you happen to lose this. Well, I need to just stop. Once your blade is in, then take the pressure nut, put it on your arbor, and press it in, and then take your tighty nut and a tighty nut. What is that?
I don't know what a tighty nut is.
And tighten it as much as you can by hand, and then use your provided device and tighten it using pulling one your way and pushing the other away from you. Does that make sense? All right. Now we have a tight blade again. Now if you use this, you need to have some creative ideas on how to remove your blade, but this you will find several options, open-ended wrench or even a ratchet wrench will be able to get there and allow you to remove that nut. But let's say that you have lost this. Now what you're going to do, you're stuck with the same blade forever. Not quite. You're using the same method as before, but now take a piece of wood, any piece of wood, put it on one of your teeth, pick up your hammer from the floor. That's an optional step.
Don't drop the hammer, maybe.
Now put it on all of the teeth and just tap it. And as you can see now, it came loose. I clearly over-tightened mine. That shouldn't take that long, but you know, I tend to over-tighten things. And now again is the same process. Your blade is clear and free. Another way is to put a piece of wood to hold the blade and then try, that's not very hardwood, you need to try hardwood. But if you try hardwood there, let's see, this is probably a better specimen. To prevent your blade from moving, this is a harder process, but we will make it work, I promise. Again, I don't really have a very hard wood. Stop, I need to do this. So as I said, if you lose this, is not, I'm sorry, if you lose this, it's kind of a big deal, unless you use the wood tip which I showed you. But if you lose this, you can find a similar size spanner, and again, you can use it. And this happened to be for us a ratchet. But it is then the same process. So if you are to lose one,
Where are you trying to tighten?
yes. There we go. And now it's loose again. So if you lose one, this is the moral of the story, you can lose this one, but don't lose this one. But even though, if you do, it's not a catastrophe, we show you how to deal with that, right? One last method you can use, if you have lost both of your spanners, as you can see I have neither on the table, is find a piece of wood that can fit in front of your blade so that it can stop the blade from rotating. And then you can untie the nut without having either of the two spanners. So don't panic if you lose either of those two. Now we're going to put our saw back together. I'm going the wrong way. And now we're ready. As you see, the blade doesn't move at all. Actually, it's moving the saw, but the blade itself is not moving at all, right? Mm-hmm. It's a good practice to put the blade down And this is a good time to check for the operation of the blade, that it doesn't bind, it doesn't have any problems. And also make sure that the blade is straight, that it doesn't have any wobble in it. If you put the camera there, so you can look straight at the blade, I'll bring it up and I'm going to rotate it by hand and you should see it through, right? I'm not rotating it now yet. Alright, so one of the ways you look for wobble is just like our camera is. You go in front of the blade or on top of the blade and you start turning it. Do you see any wobble? So we know that our blade is not bent or damaged. Alright? Alright friends, this is our saw for today and I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to try to continue make saws like that, especially if you comment below and let us know that this is something that is useful and interesting to you. So from the Garage Wizard, Elpida and the Urban Homesteading channel, we wish you a great week and we're going to see you on the weekend with another project. Farewell.